Check, check.
Good afternoon. Some of the elders said that some people did stay just after late service and did not go sign in. So if we could have you sign in so we get an accurate count, really appreciate that before we start. Okay, we will call the meeting to order then, and we will begin with an opening prayer with Pastor Marino.
Let us pray. Almighty God and Lord, as you have called us to labor in your vineyard, so grant us now your presence. Enlighten and guide us by your word, that in all matters of deliberation, we may always consider the best interest of your church and this congregation. Let your Holy Spirit rule and direct our hearts, that in the spirit of Christian love, we may present and discuss matters and be kindly disposed toward one another, to the end that all we say and do may please you. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. First item is an approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any amendments or additions to the agenda? If not, I'd accept a motion to approve the agenda. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. The agenda is approved. We also have an approval of the minutes from our last meeting from March, which is on the reverse of your handout today. You can take a few seconds, please look over that, and then would accept a motion to approve the agenda. Have a motion. Do we have a second to approve the agenda? Have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. Today we have just one item of new business, and that is the presentation of the proposal by the Site Planning Committee to upgrade the church facilities. Pastor mentioned that in his announcements after each service today, I believe. But just to be very specific and kind of refresh everyone's memory, we started with a Site Planning Committee almost a year and a half now, with the goal of to look at both the school and the church and the child care, discuss what we needed done, and make recommendations on what should be done to those facilities. So a few months ago, as you all know, we discussed the school. Today is a discussion of the church building. And this is just the church. This doesn't have anything to do with the school. At our next voters meeting, we'll give you an update on the school and how that's going. But for today, just wanted to talk about the church and the things that we're being led to do here and the things we can do here. So with that, I will turn it over to the Site Planning Committee for their presentation.
All right, thank you, Rick. This morning, as Rick said, we are going to present some proposals to improve the facilities inside the church. And I just want to remind everyone, and we've been talking about it too in our Site Planning Committee, that the facilities are not the ministry. It's what happens inside the facility that is a ministry. And we have to keep that in mind in both the school and the church, that the facility supports the ministry. It's not the ministry itself. So let's get started here. At the Site Planning Committee, we looked at trying to put in what is in scope and what is out of scope for a church renovation at this time. So we said out of scope at this time is an addition to the church building. We've got a proposal that will be take a lot of our resources at the school. We can't have two multi-million-dollar construction projects going on at the same time. The space requirements that we have here in the church will be affected by the activities center over at the school, and I'm hoping, and I think it will. I think you're going to be very happy with the plan that we are putting together for the school, but it will affect what requirements, space requirements we have here in the church. The activities center will affect it. So let's get that up. Let's see how we use it before we decide what our next step here is at the church. So we want to build the activities center first and retire the debt before we start another major project. That's just, we have to live within our means. We have to also understand that a church addition is probably 5 or more years out down the road. And can we wait 5 years to make some of these improvements in the church? Maybe not. And I think we've got really a good plan that lives within our means that will make some really positive improvements to our church facility. The other thing that we decided was out of scope was reconfiguring the church offices. There are some ideas there that we could reconfigure. There's also more long-term plans of moving the offices to a different location in the church building. There's a lot of different ideas. So we decided that's off the table at this point, maybe for the future. And any kind of addition that we would have to the church would definitely be designed by an architect. It's not going to be a site planning committee that designs the details. We don't have an architect for what we're proposing today, but if we, down the road, several years, decide to add on to our facility here, it will definitely be designed by an architect. So we looked at, well, what are the parameters then that we have for the church? The renovation must not limit future site plan options. So for instance, we don't want to put new bathrooms in a place where there is an option to add on that side of the building. We don't want to make any changes that limit what the future site planning committee can do here in this facility. We have a maximum renovation budget of $400,000. We're getting a lot for that kind of money, and we'll go through all those details here. It's a lot of money, but it's not a multi-million-dollar project that we're talking about at the school. The plan obviously must gain support from council and voters. So council has approved it. We've presented to council, and now we're coming to you as voters. The site planning committee has no power on its own to make any decisions or move forward with anything. We are just a subcommittee of council to bring back some ideas to council and to voters. And of course, the plan must have broad support from different groups in the congregation for successful fundraising. And I think we've touched on a lot of different areas here to make that happen. So the priorities for the church renovation, and this is something that the site planning committee, we listed different ideas, and we all voted more or less. We went through a certain process to determine what the priorities are. What do we want to accomplish with this church renovation? The number one item that came up on the site planning committee was our bathrooms. And we want to add handicap accessibility, which we haven't had since this church was built 50 years ago. Maybe we should have, as a congregation, had thought of that or had added that into our plans 50 years ago. We probably should have corrected it 30 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. How about 10 years ago? But today we're going to correct that problem. And that really does affect the ministry. There are people that really probably are not coming to church because we don't have handicap accessibility in our church bathrooms. We want to increase the capacity of those bathrooms and improve the decor. Number two was an open space for fellowship after worship. It includes a coffee center, comfortable furniture, a multi-purpose space. Today, fellowship means a little bit different than it did 50 years ago. 50 years ago, it was a lot of potluck meals, things like that. Now it's coffee after church, comfortable areas where people can congregate. And that's one of the objectives that we want to have with this renovation. The third item was to improve the sanctuary lighting. That's these big fixtures up above. Improve that lighting, and we'll get into some of that detail later on. The fourth was remodel the fellowship hall. It's looking pretty tired right now, and I think we can fall in love again with our fellowship hall after we do some of the renovations. And finally, it was improved space for contemporary music in the sanctuary. And we talked to a lot of people about that, and we didn't really know what that meant yet. So other than the lighting, and that will improve the contemporary music and the contemporary service, that probably requires a different group of people to come together and really lay out a roadmap of where contemporary worship is going and contemporary music. And our site planning committee wasn't really the right group of people to go over that. So I think we'll see more on that in the future, but we didn't really address that in our church renovation. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Doug. He's done a great job with putting together these plans, and he will go through in detail. And you also have in your printout more detail of what we're proposing, and some of these drawings are also on the back of your page. So Doug, thank you.
Thank you, Craig. If we notice here, this is the bathroom area that we're working on. Can you hear me? Okay. This is the bathroom area that we're working on. We'll start at the bottom and go up. I couldn't find my laser pointer this morning, so I don't have it. Otherwise, I would have had that. But anyhow, in the bathrooms, you can see in there where we're taking the wall out of the library. We will no longer have the library. So we're taking the wall out of the library. That would be the green wall between the two stool areas. So we're taking that wall out of there, and in turn, we're making the ladies' bathroom larger. We will now have in the ladies' bathroom 1 handicap stall and 2 regular stalls. We will have 3 lavatories. We will have mirrors on the back side of the lavatories, behind the lavatories, and we're also going to put a short mirror on the side of the lavatory so you can kind of look in that and see back into the bigger mirror or vice versa, whichever way you want to do that. Then we're also adding a family restroom in there, which I think is very, very important. You know, if a mother wants to take her son out and go into the restroom, which one does she go to? Does she go to the ladies or the men's? She has to go into the ladies. That's probably okay when you don't have a bunch of other kids around. But if you got a bunch of other little kids around and a little third grader goes into the ladies' restroom and some of his friends are there, they'll start teasing him about that, and vice versa with a little girl. So we felt it was really necessary to have a family bathroom. And that can be used by anyone. That can be used, you know, for handicap as well as for family, whatever you want to use it for, okay? The utility room will stay as it is because we got a lot of plumbing in there. We have a lot of electrical in that utility room, so the utility room has to stay as it is. The men's bathroom will not increase any in size, but we will change the stool area to make that handicap. We will have 2 urinals, one along the side of the stool area, and we'll have one right where you come into the door, but there will be a partition there. There will also be a short partition of about 12 inches long that will be on the bottom side of that top urinal. Also, there will be a short partition in there, 12 to 15 inches long, whatever measurement we can make fit, and still have the proper room for someone to walk between the handicap stool and the other urinal. We will again have 2 sinks in the men's restroom, and we'll have a large mirror in behind the 2 sinks in there. So that's what we're going to do with the bathrooms. Basically, the wall that we see along the hallway now will not change. The only change in that wall will be we will close the doors up, which now go into the library. Those doors will come out. One of those doors will be used in the family restroom. We just have to get a different frame for it. So we're going to utilize everything that we can utilize to hold the cost down as much as we possibly can. Now we can go into the cry room. Okay, here's the cry room. You can see where the existing cry room is on the bottom. You can see where the green lines are for the existing cry room. Those walls will come out. And that will open up that whole space. That'll give us much more room back in that corner of the building when we come out of the church in the morning if people need to go down the hall, down to the fellowship hall or whatever else they're going to do, okay? Because that area is always a congested area out in there. There's people standing around. People want to get by them and stuff like that, and that'll really open that up a lot, okay? Then we will take put the new infant room. That will come into the church. We will take out the pew right along the glass windows and the next 2 pews forward. That wall will come out 7 foot on the south side, because that will be at an angle, and it will come out 10 foot on the north side. So now those 3 windows that are back there we will reuse, but they will be in there on a slant, which will give that cry room a much better view of the sanctuary and the front of the church. And then, yeah, I said we'll use the same windows. We decided to put the door in the corner that would be the, maybe I don't know how to run it. That one there? If I can find it. You know, where am I at?
See, share God's word right there. Share God's word. Up a little bit.
There you go, right there. Okay. We decided to put the door right there, and the reason we did, we originally thought about putting the door over. See, I lost myself again, but I'll find it, okay? We were going to put the door on that wall over there, but we thought that would put too much noise back into the sanctuary with infants into that room, so we took that out of there, and decide to put it right there in that corner, right in there. So that will be the new infant room there. That will be, and then we will have a walkway right there. We'll continue to have a walkway behind that one pew. So we'll take the 3 out, leave that, and then that'll be our walkway going back down that north side in there is what we'll have there, okay? And there you can kind of see a picture of the Peace Church in Grand Island, and you can see some of the chairs and a little table that they have in there kind of for a little sitting area. But again, we, as a site planning committee, is not going to decide that furniture and stuff like that. That will be done with some of you ladies and some of you other gentlemen in the congregation can work on that, okay? So any questions on that, what we're going to do there? Okay, let's go to our next slide. Okay, here's the coffee bar. The coffee bar, again, if there's that beam in the church in the north X, that coffee bar will go from there all the way down to that corner wall down in through there. We are now showing a double sink in there. That will be a single sink in there. Underneath the coffee bar, we will have a cabinet over here, and we'll also have a cabinet down here underneath there. We will also have a hole in the countertop there, so we can we'll have a cabinet there, but we'll also have our trash can underneath there, so the trash can won't show until we bring it out of there. So that's for the coffee bar. And that's just ideal because we can come right across there with our plumbing right back into the bathroom back in there. So it's just ideal situation, hold the cost down tremendously by doing it that way there. There's just a couple pictures of a couple coffee bars that we have. You see that one there? I don't know where that's at for sure, but anyhow, there's a coffee bar there where they have the coffee pot and everything else and some cabinets underneath. Here's another coffee bar that we took a picture of to show the cabinets underneath. The little refrigerator will also have a little refrigerator in there to show the little refrigerator underneath there. And our coffee bar will be a little bigger than that. We're not going to have all that stuff sitting on top of it like we have that's in there right now, okay? Any questions on that? Yes. Do I think we should do what? Oh, where is that? That would be underneath those coat hangers. If you look back there, you see the coat hangers? Okay, it will be right underneath that. Those coat hangers will come out of there, and the other stuff that's in that corner there will come out of there. Anything else? Okay, go to the next slide. Okay, that is the chapel, okay? In the chapel, we're going to take out that 6-inch raised area that's in there right now. We're going to take that out of there. We'll take all the carpet out of there. We will take out all the paneling that's in there. All the suspended ceiling will come out, and all the light fixtures will come out, okay? The round light fixtures that are in there will stay in there, but all the 2x4 light fixtures that are in there will all come out. We will go back in there with real low profile 2x2 light fixtures, and we'll go in there with all new suspended ceiling, which will have a 1/4-inch reveal. It'll drop down a 1/4 inch, more the modern style suspended ceiling like you now see in most places that have suspended ceiling in it. That's what we're going to be doing in the chapel. We will move all the furniture that's in the chapel out of the chapel. We will probably put it against that back wall where those windows are at right now. That way they won't be getting dust and stuff on it while we are working back in there doing the sheetrock work. All that will be sheetrock, all that will be painted, and again, the color of the painting will be selected by a group from the congregation, not from the planning committee. So, do we have any questions on that? But that will really brighten that chapel up and make that chapel look a lot more brighter. We normally do the Sunday worship service from the chapel, and I think that will brighten that area up a lot by putting sheetrock in there rather than having that dark paneling in there. Okay. Any questions on the chapel? Any questions on the chapel? Okay. Okay, the sanctuary upgrades. As we look towards the back of the church, you see all that dark paneling back there. Okay, all that dark paneling will come off. By taking that dark paneling off of there and putting sheetrock in there, I'm hoping that we will drop down on some of this echo that we get into the church. Right now we have a lot of echo in here when people are talking. So that will be all sheetrock there, and again it will be painted at a color that will be selected by the people of the congregation, not from us, the site planning committee. Then also, as we take out that dark paneling along there, that dark paneling also goes towards the west on both sides of the north X of the balcony. Okay, that dark paneling will come off all the way to the west end of the church, where, and then that will be sheetrock in there also, which will brighten that area of the north X up, especially when we come into the church from the north. So both those two short walls, about 6 foot high, the paneling will come off, and that will be sheetrock going along those walls there, okay? Now, the only place we will not have sheetrock where this dark paneling is coming off is behind the pipes of the pipe organ. Behind that, because we don't want to be messing with sheetrock back behind those pipe organs, behind those pipes. We will put a clear white panel of some kind back behind them, and we will cover those pipes up very well so we don't get any dust down inside those pipes, because that would not probably be a good program for the organ if we got dust in those pipes. So we will protect that very well while we're doing the construction work on that. Okay. I'll go into the lighting now of what we're going to do in the lighting of the church, okay? As we look up towards the ceiling, we see those panels up there. We are probably taking those panels down. I guess we haven't made a 100% decision on that just yet. We're probably going to talk with some sound people and see if we think they should come down or if they should stay up there if they help with echo in the church. So again, we're going to let someone else make that decision for us whether those are coming down. The light fixtures will all come down. In the process of that, we're going to send these light fixtures all back to Mastercraft back in Ohio, and they are going to rebuild these light fixtures. As we look at these light fixtures right now, you'll see the light, and then you'll see the dark shadows in it, and then the light in them, okay? They're telling us we will totally eliminate that with the new LED lights. We will totally eliminate that in there. The whole inside of those fixtures will be replaced. We will wrap those fixtures, we will put them in boxes, we will wrap those fixtures very well before we send them back there. I don't know if we're going to send those back there through common carrier, but I'm thinking we might put all those in a cargo trailer and have someone take them back there so we have better protection on those things as they're moving from one location to another. The new lighting system that we're going to put in there will be all wireless, or put in here will be all wireless. That will be able to be controlled from any place in the church, from the front of the church or from the back of the church. The control panel for the new lighting system that we're going to put in here will have all kind of expandabilities to it. We'll be able to put directional light in it. We'll be able to put spotlights off of it. We'll be able to put colored lights, do colored lights off of it. It will just have a lot of flexibility to that new system that we're going to put in here for the lights. One of the problems that we are running into as we talk to electricians, you know, these lights are 50 years old, and there's just not a lot of parts available for them, and no one is making parts for these existing fixtures anymore. Prior to a year and a half ago, before COVID hit, people were doing this kind of stuff because they had time in their plans to do this. Now all everybody is concerned about is making new stuff and not worrying about the old stuff. So the lighting is something that really needs to be done, and it's something that's very important that we do right now, or we could get ourselves into some real trouble with the lighting system that we have in here right now. We're going to be able to dim these lights individually, not all of them at one time, not 3 of them at one time, but each light can be dimmed individually whenever this new system is put in. So that's going to really, really improve this lighting system tremendously in here. Okay, do I have any questions on what we're doing in here? I can't hear you. Oh, okay, right now we are running 5 decibel of lights in here right now. When we're done, we'll be up to 20. So we'll be 4 times as light as we are in here right now. Plus, the thing that will make a lot of difference will be by putting that sheetrock on that back wall back in through here. Instead of that dark paneling, that will also brighten this place up tremendously. So I think the sanctuary is going to look altogether different whenever we get done. It's going to look much more modern. It's going to even look like it's much more open, I think, when we get that dark paneling off the back end of it back here. Anything else? You know, I didn't realize I couldn't hear real well. My kids have always told me that, but maybe I'm starting to realize that more now. I guess I better improve on that. Next slide. Okay, fellowship. Do we have that angled slide? The angled slide, the one that had, do we have that? That, okay, yeah, this slide right here, okay? This is the 3-sided slide, as you see that. We'll start over in the kitchen area. The kitchen in the fellowship hall will be made 8 foot bigger. It will go, that wall is in the fellowship hall now, where the counter and the roll-up doors are at. That wall will move 8 feet to the north, approximately 8 foot to the north, give or take a little bit one way or the other, okay? The west wall in the kitchen will not come out. We'll leave that block wall in there. We will in turn expand that west wall with 2x8 structure in there, so it'll be the same width as what the existing block wall is. The new wall will be a 2x4 structure, but the new wall will be. The counters are now 6 foot. We are changing those to 7 foot. So each one of those counters will be 7 feet wide, which will give us 2 more foot of serving area in the kitchen. Also in the kitchen, we will now have a center counter in the kitchen, approximately 4 feet wide. It will not have cabinets underneath of it. It will be open underneath. So they can sit around there on chairs or whatever else they might want to do with that, okay? So that's what we're going to do in there. The countertop over above the cabinets to the south wall will be all new. We will take along that east wall, we will, if we leave the water heater there, we will box it in with a 3-foot door to have access to it. Or we will go to an on-demand water heater. We haven't decided exactly what we're going to do yet, but we will do something else in there. All new appliances will go in there. Those appliances are back, 50 years ago. Some of them are. So all new appliances will go in there. We will continue to have 2 3-hole sinks in there on that south wall. That's what we'll do into the kitchen. Again, all new suspended ceiling, all new lights, fixtures in there. Then as we come around on the east side of the fellowship hall, you'll see we're putting 2 12-foot wide projectors in there, approximately 5.5 foot high. The top of those screens will be level with the top of the windows. And the bottom, as you look on the bottom of them, you'll see a chair rail. We're going to put a chair rail center at 32 inches high in the whole fellowship hall, on all the walls of the fellowship hall. That existing room that we have in the fellowship hall will come out. That will be removed. So the fellowship hall will now go all the way back to that north wall like it is right now. And again, the chair rail will go there. On the west wall, we did not do a print on the west wall. The west wall will look the same as it is, except it will have the chair rail up 32 inches high on that west wall. We're going to put carpet squares on the floor, and again, that will be selected by people from the congregation, not by us. The ceiling will have the 2-foot square suspended ceiling with the 2-foot square low-profile LED lights in there in the kitchen in the fellowship hall. That's what we're doing in the fellowship hall. The color of the walls again will be selected by people from the congregation, not by us. Okay. Yes. Yes, we will. What we will do with that, we now have one projector in the fellowship hall. We'll put 2 projectors in there. That projector is old, so we will put 2 new projectors in the fellowship hall. So we'll have one going into each screen, okay?
Will we have some round tables instead of the long rectangle
Yes,
tables?
yes. We will have at least half and half, at least half round and at least half rectangular. All new tables, there will be all new chairs put in there.
Thank
In the fellowship hall. That will all be new, okay?
I know from working with the youth group that there was some issues with the sound system. Is there plans to do some sound system work in there as well?
At the present time, yes, and at the present time, no. Okay? I'm going to leave that wide open. Because when we get done, you know, we're using a budget of $400,000 for this project. I'm thinking we're going to get this project done for about $365 to $375. So we have some cushion in that $400,000 that we will have some money available for some other things. So again, we may be able to use some of that for changing the sound system in there and some of that kind of stuff, okay?
This kind of piggybacks on what he said. Are we fully decided on projectors, or have we considered smart TVs with sound bars, which would possibly fix the sound system issue as well?
We're going to do what?
Are we stuck on projectors, or have we considered smart TVs with a sound bar below it, which would possibly also fix the sound system issue?
I think we're open on that, okay? I think we're open on that. I think we can have some discussion on that. After we approve this project, we can have some more discussion on that and maybe figure out some other things to do with that sound system and that TV system.
Will there be a place for brides to get ready for their wedding?
That was what?
Brides.
Bride's room?
Well, actually, the chapel, when we're done with the chapel, we're probably going to have a conference table in the chapel, okay? We will also have a small table where we're taking the cry room out for like small meetings of like 4 or 6 people. But we're planning on using the chapel for some of that, for meetings and stuff like that, because we will have a conference table of some type right in the area of the windows in the chapel.
You said the tile's coming out in the fellowship hall. How old is that tile? Has it been checked for asbestos? You know?
The tile, we're 99% sure is not asbestos. If there's anything asbestos, it would be the glue underneath of it. So no, we are not taking the tile out. Where we take the wall out, in the kitchen wall, where that comes out, we will just feather that into the height of what the tile is now, okay?
Question? Jody?
Covered
Yes.
for brides to be able to get ready?
Yes,
or is
the
that
cry room. The
family
cry room will
bath-
have a ceiling on it, just like it does now. The space above the cry room, we will bring that wall up 42 inches high above the cry room on the south and on the east, and we'll be able to use that space up there for organized storage.
But I'm talking about for brides to get ready. I think that's what she was asking about. Is there a covered, like that room I got ready in when I got married here, because it's covered, nobody sees you, you're behind there. Is the family bathroom maybe going to be nice enough that brides can get ready in before they come down on their wedding, so nobody sees them. They're completely hidden.
The family bathroom should be large enough. Should be
or
large
some
enough.
space.
There will be a mirror behind the. There will be a vanity in there. There'll be a mirror on both sides of the vanity. So like a
maybe-
bride can look on one side and kind of see the other side of it, yes.
I mean,
Okay.
maybe the decor needs to be
Right,
kind of
right,
thinking
right.
about that future.
We are also in the chapel, we're probably going to put some type of a roll-up screen on the windows in the chapel, so we can basically roll that down to where if the wedding party wants to be in the chapel, they can, you know. But with a much larger ladies' restroom and with the family restroom, that's going to sure give a wedding party a lot more access to restroom facilities prior to the wedding, okay? Okay.
Monty?
Yes, we will have a dishwasher in the kitchen, yes. Not a $10,000 commercial one, just a standard dishwasher in there will be there. We'll have a new stove in there. We'll probably have a two-door glass refrigerator in there, where the glass front would be in the refrigerator. That's probably what we'll put in there for a refrigerator in there.
Does this estimate include furnishings for the social space?
No, no, no. But again, we have some cushion in that estimate, okay?
This just to Jody and Deanna. We already used that chapel for a lot of people getting ready for baptisms, funerals, weddings, and I think that was the plan, that there would be space in there and then shades, that it would be appropriate for privacy before those events, so family visiting from out of town, or everybody could gather in there.
Okay, anything else on the fellowship hall?
So is this all going to take place at once or in stages, or because when you do the sanctuary, what are we going to do for church service? You're going to be redoing the lighting and drywall work, and just kind of wondering how we're going to do this all in stages, or
How we're going to do this? Okay. I'll go through that in a minute. Are we done with the slides? No. Okay. Okay. Okay.
What about the restroom down by the kitchen? Is anything going to be done to that?
No. At this time, no. Well, what we'll do is we'll maybe put new floor in it, since we're going to have new floor all the way through the rest of it. But there's really no room to expand that restroom. That restroom is pretty much the size that it has to be. There's really no place to go with that. So, and I guess we haven't looked at the fixtures in there yet. I guess if they need to be replaced, we'll replace those fixtures. Okay. I guess we haven't looked at those and really haven't decided on that yet. But again, that's some flexibility that we have in some stuff, okay? Yeah, the conference room and the fellowship hall will come out. I think that we address that, and that's where we will use more of the conference room in the chapel after that. Or we have that little area over here where we're taking out the cry room, where we can do that into there. So we basically will not take away any of the functions that we have today. They will all be somewhere. They will all just be moved a little bit from one place to another.
Doug, if I can, just make sure I got the question here. So are we doing this in stages, or will we do everything at once? How can we ensure that we can still have church if we're taking lights out, that kind of thing? Was that your question, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, we got a couple slides, and then I'm going to run through all of that, okay? This is North X. This is what this is. Okay. The ceiling tile we'll use, as you can see, they'll have a 1/4-inch reveal. They'll drop down, the new modern look. The lights will be all the low-profile LED lights that we're going to use. As far as, let's go to the North X. Do we have one on the North X? Right, that shows the committee room being gone, right, okay. As far as the Northex is concerned, we will put all new ceiling tiles in there. All new lights will go in there. And again, with our new lighting system, we'll still have the same dimming procedures as what we have now. The only paneling that we are not taking out, we're not taking the paneling out in the 2 stairways. We're not taking that paneling out. And we're not taking the paneling out, the dark paneling out around the pipes of the pipe organ up in the balcony. We're not taking that paneling out of there, okay? But other than that, all that dark paneling will come out of the back part of the church, okay? Okay, I'll go through the construction staging of what we're going to do, okay? Let's start with the restrooms. We will do the ladies' restroom and the family restroom first. We're hoping that when we cut the concrete out of there, we're hoping that the pipe that goes underneath the utility room is okay, that we can continually to use it. If we can, then we will not do anything with the men's restroom until after the ladies' restroom and the family restroom is done. So at that rate there, we will continue to have the men's restroom available to use all during this project until the ladies' restroom and family restroom is done, and then we will have that available as we redo the men's restroom. Because basically, other than taking the partitions out, vanity out, the stool and the urinals out, basically there's not a lot of work to do in the men's restroom. We'll just take out what's in there now. We will then cut the floor out wherever we have to go ahead and put the plumbing in underneath the floor that we have to, take the sheetrock off of the walls where we have to. So that's a pretty minor project which will not take 2 to 3 weeks maximum to get done, okay? So we can move that back to the latter part of the project, okay? So we will probably, so is where we will start after you approve this today. We will start tomorrow morning. We will need some people in here to help Starla and Lynn clean out the library, so we'll need some volunteers for that. So once we get the library cleaned out, then we will start bringing people in, and we will tear that wall out in the library and those doors out. We will fill those doors in. So when we're working in the restrooms, those doors will be filled in there in the hallway. At the same time, we will start dismantling the fellowship hall. We will get the ceiling tiles out. We will get the concrete block taken out where the roll-up windows are at now. We will get that taken out. So that will be our first stages of construction. We will not mess with the Northex. We will not mess with the hallway at the beginning. We're hoping we don't have to mess with the Northex or the hallway, with the exception of the 2 walls that we're going to sheetrock. But the rest of it, we're going to leave as is until probably the last 6 weeks of the project. That way, with the hall staying like it is, going north and south and east and west, with that staying like it is, there won't be a lot of notice of construction. We will notice the construction area where we're going to take out the cry room and where we're going to put the new infant room is. But that's how we plan on doing this. When we get in here with the lights in here, we've got 2 weddings that we won't mess with these lights until, we will not mess with these lights until after that second wedding is done. I think that second wedding is the middle of July, I'm not sure what the date is. But until that wedding is over with, we will not mess with the sanctuary. But we will immediately tomorrow get a hold of the people on the lights to make sure that they have all the parts there. So when we take those lights back there, it will be a very short time frame where they can go ahead and get those lights redone. When they are done, again, I'm 90% sure that we will go back and pick up those lights and bring them back here. You know, I got people traveling all over all the time, and it's just no big deal to put them in a cargo trailer and one of our heavy-duty vehicles and take them back there, drop them off, and then go back and pick them up when they're ready. Because we'll save a lot of time. We'll save a lot of potential damage by doing that. Okay. So that's how the lighting thing. But as what we will do, we will drop bulbs down off of these fixtures that we have right now. So we will continue to have light into the church. We just won't have these fixtures. We will have some other fixtures.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, and you already said how you're going to do that on the lights. So thank you.
Yeah. See, if we would decide to if we decide to put new fixtures up here instead of rebuilding the fixtures that we have, we could add probably $20,000 to $25,000 to the project. Okay. So that's why we're going to send these fixtures back and get them rebuilt, and they'll continue to look like they are now, except we won't have the shadows in them. Did I miss something going over? Okay. So do we all kind of understand the construction process that we're going to do? Okay. And again, like I say, after we approve this today, we will need some people to come in here and help Starla under her direction clean out that library and put stuff where she wants it. And then once that is done, then we will come in here and start dismantling things and going together with it then.
So Doug, if everything went the way you anticipate, what is a total project time on this?
We plan on being done by September 1. That's our goal. Our goal is to be done by September 1. Okay, we've got everybody lined up. We've got the plumbers lined up. We've got the electricians lined up. We got the carpenters lined up. We have everybody lined up, setting on hold until we call them tomorrow morning and tell them that the project is a go. But I told them last week, they said, what's the chances? And I said, I'm 99% sure it's going to go, 1% it's not. And I said, if we don't go with that 1%, I'm going to come back and convince them all to revote.
Just wondering, is there any funds that are already put towards this or ready to go for this, or is this all saying this is the budget, now we need to go get it as well?
I would say 40% of this is already committed, and maybe more. You know, when it comes to light fixtures, I gambled 2 months ago, and I bought 150 of these 2x2 low-profile light fixtures because I knew they were taking a big jump. I have those sitting out in one of my warehouses at this time at probably a 30 to 35% better price than what they would be if we bought them now. So I've already bought those. If the project does not go, I can find other uses for them. So I've already done that. So that's one of the jumps, so we know we'll have those things. I checked, they had 150 of them on hand, so I bought them. And again, I have them, and I have them paid for. So those are already committed, those are already here. Okay?
So we have 40% potentially committed to this project for the funds. We're doing a fundraiser for the school at the same time. Meanwhile, Lutheran High is doing a fundraiser for their school. Are we concerned that we're hitting all the same pocketbooks at the same time and we're going to run out of funds for one of the three projects?
We have the jump on everything. We're here, we're ready to go, okay? Everything else is going to be funded later. We've got 3 projects that are going on. We have Orphan Grain Train going on at $2 to $3 to $4 million. We have Lutheran High going on with $2 to $3 to $4 million. We have a church project going on at $7 million. Now you all know what that project's going to cost. So there's 3 projects that are going to be tapping a lot of the same funds. The school project, Lutheran High Northeast project, that's tapped from a pretty good size area. You know, there's 19 or 20 schools that belong to that school project association. So the money for that is tapped out of a lot larger area. You know, one of the positive things that we have going right now is we have very good commodity prices. All your grain prices are up. Your livestock prices are not. They're a little shady. You know, I watch this stuff every day because of the business that I'm in. But as far as the grains, commodities are up, they're up. A lot of people have sold some corn at some pretty nice $7, $8 figures because it did hit $8 for a while, and I'm sure we have some people jump on that. So some of this year's corn crop is sold at some pretty good numbers, okay? The stock market is up. You know, anybody that took a look at the stock market here 15, 16 months ago and jumped onto some of that stuff, they made some money on it. You know, I'm not really a stock market player. I say I gamble every morning and I get up with all my businesses. I don't need to gamble on the stock market, but those people that do play the stock market, I know they've done pretty good here in the last year in the stock market. So I think right now there's some real positive things going on around the country. So doing these projects right now, not only remodeling Christ Lutheran Church, not only Christ Lutheran School, not only Orphan Grain Train, not only Lutheran High Northeast, the timing is right as far as people having money to invest in these projects. The timing is wrong because of the high construction cost right now. Will these construction costs ever go down? I don't think so. I think they're going to level off. I think we're going to see a little bit of downturn in them, but I think they're going to be like a seesaw, like I always say, you know, business runs like a saw blade. It's got the ups and the downs in it, and I think that's what we're going to see in the material prices as we move forward. But I do think that they're going to probably start leveling off. If we have noticed in the news in the last couple weeks, we have seen the news media is starting to jump on this inflation because of materials. I was listening to a program last Sunday and they were talking about this, and they said basically the lumber industry is controlled by 4 people. Steel industry is controlled by 3 people. The beef industry is controlled by 4 people. The pork industry is controlled by 2 people. And that what I was listening to last Sunday said it's time the government steps in and starts looking at some of this stuff and breaking some of this stuff up. So again, I don't think materials are going to change. I don't think we can take this project here for $400,000. I don't think we can wait a year from now and do it and save any money. It's going to cost us more money. Any of the other projects, I feel the same way about it. So I know I answered your question probably more than I should have, but I answered the question from what I feel about it, okay? Yep.
So do you have set people that are going to do this project? Did you put it out for bid, have several contractors take a look at it and put their input on it, or you have certain people that already have
we got people in place to do this. We have talked to several contractors. We've got numbers from several people. So we've got people in place. We've got people in place to do most of this work.
So you've already had approved for bids and everybody's already, you found the lowest bids and...
Or what?
So you already had people take a look at this and you've already approved bids, and so when we vote on this, the bids are already set in place and those people are going to come do the work. And
we pretty much have. We got a couple of them yet that we got 2 different people we're talking to on it yet that we haven't made a final decision on yet.
Do you foresee the bathrooms being dismantled for our summer weddings, ours in particular?
Well, we have to do the ladies' restrooms before we do the men's. We can't really do the men's first. We have to do the ladies first, so that's why we're going to keep the men's open, okay? So we will have the men's, and we will have the small one back here for them to use, okay?
But for a wedding, everyone comes in the door, goes to the restroom, check their hair, go to the bathroom before, you know, waiting for the service to start. And I'm just foreseeing, you know, several hundred people needing to go to the bathroom, and that one bathroom isn't really going
And the
to
men's bathroom may be available. The men's bathroom will now become a co-ed bathroom for the next 3 months. If we need to, I can always get a hold of Orphan Grain Train. I can always get a hold of Bernie out there, and I can see if they can bring in one of those portable buildings that have restrooms in them. It's not a good idea, just like porta potties are not a good idea. That's why we're going to keep the men's bathroom open right away. But we have to do the women's bathroom first because the majority of the work is in the women's bathroom, so that's the way we have to do it.
We had the discussion about bathrooms and weddings and church services in general. Not many people know it, but Pastor Moreno has a restroom in his office. He's graciously allowed people to use. There's also a restroom in Starla's office, and then the one back here. So I know that not the most convenient time, and we apologize for that, but there are other restrooms and other accommodations we've thought about.
Yeah, you know, we're doing this project, very good point, because we're doing this project in the summer when there's nothing going on in the school. So you're right, we could always use those school facilities if we have to. And we can all, and speaking of that, we can also use the gym in the school for luncheons after funerals and stuff too. So we have that available since we're doing this in the summertime, okay? Is that right, Drew? Can we use this? Can we? I volunteered you without asking you, Drew. I'm sorry. Anything else? Yes. No, a yes today does not affect the school one bit. No. No. This don't affect the school one bit. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, this is a very small project. We have, speaking of this, we have short-term financing arranged for this, besides the money that's already committed. We have short-term financing arranged to pay the bills until the first of the year, because we should be able, if we can't pick up $250,000 out of this congregation, another $250 between now and the first of the year, I think there's something wrong. That's my gut feeling on it.
This kind of goes back to Austin's question about fundraising and many pots. We are working with a Steyer group, which is a group doing fundraising for the school project. And one of the questions we asked them specifically was, how does this work when you have Orphan Grain Train, Lutheran High, our church, the school, all working on a fundraising project at the same time? Their group has worked with hundreds of churches, and they said you'd be surprised how it actually involves more people from the congregation. And he said you don't see one project really getting hurt, you get one helped, because there are people in the congregation that have a heart for one project. There may be people in this congregation that are really devoted and dedicated to the church and want to see things happen here. You have people that are dedicated to the school, or both. And so instead of having someone say, well, I'm not interested in that project, there's excitement. There's someone saying, I'm ready to give to that project, and I want to be part of what's going on in the community. So that's from a large consulting fundraising group, for what it's worth.
I didn't have a question, but I did want to make a comment. Having done one project before in which we put up 2 bathrooms, and that was $200,000, I just want to say I'm extremely impressed by all that you were able to put together and accomplish with the limitations of the budget. So I just wanted to tip my hat to that.
Thank you. One of the reasons we're able to do this is because we are doing this project with no profit. Okay, we are doing this project, okay, we are making absolutely 0 profit on any of the materials. We are making no profit on any of the subcontractors. If the subcontractors make profit, that's their business. But as far as we are concerned, this project has got no profit in it. We have hired Chris Daniels with Huff Construction. I called Chris about a month ago on a Sunday afternoon, and I said, Chris, after I found out that he had left Hausman Construction after the bank was done, and he had went back to Huff Construction, which he worked for 8.5 years before, Hausman called him to have him come down and help run the bank, the Elkhorn Valley Bank project. He went back to them after that project was done, so I called him because I knew he didn't have any projects going, and I said, Chris, will you help me run this project? I said, I tell you what, Chris, I'll give you 6% of the total cost of this project if you'll help me run it, okay? And I have agreed to pay that 6% to him to run this project for me. So there's no profit in this project whatsoever, okay? None whatsoever in this project, except the 6% that I am paying Chris to run this project for us, okay? So if we would come out here and give this to a contractor, and they would add their normal fixed overhead and their profits and stuff like that, we could probably add 25 to 30% to this project. So this $400,000 project would be $500,000 plus real easy. We're not doing that. We're doing this for cost, okay? So we will not get this project done for this price in the future. We will not get this project done for this price if we go out here and hire a general contractor to run it for us. So that's where we're at on this project. So I have committed that $24,000 of my dollars to pay Chris for this project. I've also going to donate all these lights I bought for this project, which is about another $15,000 to $17,000. Okay, so I myself am committing $40,000+ of my money into this project to get it done. That's 10% of the project. Okay, so when we subtract some of that stuff out of here, the light fixtures and stuff that I have already bought and this kind of stuff, when we subtract that out of here, we're going to have, I think, quite a bit of extra money to work with that $400,000 budget to do some other things that I think need to be done. So that's where we're at on this, okay? So if we vote it down, and I say, okay, if you guys want to do it, go hire a contractor to do it, then we kind of know the penalties that we're faced with. So we can make that decision here in a little bit whenever we vote, whether we're going to make this thing happen or not. I am pushing for this. I'm pushing very hard for this. 6 months ago, when I suggested this project to the site planning committee, when they were working on the school project, I got shot down, bam. We are not doing a school remodeling project or we're not doing a church remodeling project while we're doing a school project. Well, any of you people in here that know me, I don't take no for an answer. I haven't heard the word no in my vocabulary. It's never been there. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing for this every meeting that we ever went to after that, until I got everybody convinced, yes, let's get this church remodeled before we jump onto the school project, because it's a small enough project to make this happen. So I myself am really pushing for this project to get it done, because this is stuff that we have talked about here for years, and it's just time we get it done. And it'd be surprising how much different this will look for our 150th anniversary. When we bring these ministers back in here that have preached here before, and they walk in here, they're going to notice a complete different look in here than what they had when they were here serving us as in their ministry. So I think that's very important, and I think that's why it's very important to do it now, because if we don't do it now, and once we get past this 150th anniversary, we will keep delaying and delaying and delaying and delaying, and when will we do it? That's why I think it's very, very important that we vote this in, that we move forward with this, and we make this project happen. With that, I'll turn this over to Rick. Thank you.
Okay. Are there further questions? Seeing no questions, we have a motion then from the Site Planning Committee. So moved by Craig. Okay. We had the motion by Craig. Will you be a second? So we have a motion and a second from Bill. Is there any further discussion? This will be a ballot vote, so you all have ballots so we can vote. Ushers will come around and collect the ballots, and we will tally the results. Yes or no? Yes will be to proceed with the plan. No would be to not proceed with the plan. The number of people that have signed in does not match up with the number of people that are here. So again, if you're here and you're a voting member, ask that you please sign in either now or before you leave. 18. There was a question of who is on the site planning committee. I don't want to leave anyone out. There were about 12 members. If any other members of site planning committee are here, we'd ask you to stand up. So we thank these people for their service. The vote is yes, 68, and no, 10. So that motion does pass, and we will proceed with construction. Thank you all.
So could we get a couple, three gals to come in here in the morning, or guys, I don't care, and help Starla get that library cleaned out so we can proceed? Just Starla's here, just let her know who it's going to be, okay? Thanks.
Did I hear another question? Oh, what time? Starla doesn't know yet. Guess you could call the church office in the morning. So, very good. And we are at closing time. I'd invite Pastor Moreno for a closing prayer.
Would you please stand? The best prayer I know is the one our Lord gave us. Would you join me? Our Father, who art in heaven,